join us, Facebook and YouTube. Hello, how are you? Happy Feel Good Friday. I hope everybody is super well and has had a good week. How many of you have had kids back to school? Yes, hallelujah. Well, I've had one down, two to go next week. So we're busy. I've got so many name tapes to sew on. Anyway, that's another story. So I was just saying to my friends on Instagram, it's a bit of a grey day. The sun is trying down here in the West Country. I hope it's shining where you are. Now, talking of sunshine, lots of comments have come in about the Alfresco range that I launched. I think it was this time last week. Amazing. I love this brand. It's a brand that I have personally bought repeatedly over the years. I travel with it. It is a fragrance spray that keeps mosquitoes away. Yes, it really works. It's been tested by the London School of Tropical Medicine. It was devised by an amazing woman who was volunteering at the Chelsea Physic Garden, one of my favourite apothecary gardens. Honestly, look them up, Chelsea Physic Garden. It's a great place. You can join. I'm a member, a friend. I'm actually one of their patrons, but you can join an annual membership, and it means that you can go in any time and look around the gardens. They do all sorts of medicinal plant study courses. It's just a great place, full of history. And anyway, so she was a volunteer and she was being bitten to death by mosquitoes and midges. And so she created this all-natural fragrance blend made by a family firm of apothecaries in London. And it really works. It smells delicious. We've got 20% off if you use Liz Loves, all in capitals. So I'll just give you the details again in case you missed it, because it was just so popular. Alfresco. They're not on my sheet, Amy. Amy is managing Facebook and they are not on my sheet. So I will get that to you. I think it's Alfresco London, but I don't want to be quoted on that, but we will get that. Anyway, there is a link on Instagram on Linktree, by the way. So this is what I use. It's their classic spray. They've since branched out and brought out all sorts of other new things. And also this little thing. I've been using this for years. It's an anti-bug moisturiser. So I know lots of people are heading up to Scotland. My commercial director, Polly, she's just gone off on a road trip to Scotland complaining about midges. So this is what you need to pack with you. And you can get a great little weekend travel set that has these little lovelies in it. Isn't that cute? So you can just pop them in your pocket and just spritz them on. But actually this fragrance always reminds me of happy holidays because I always take it with me. So anyway, I just didn't want you to miss out on that because they do say that we are going to be getting an Indian summer. Yes, I read that. Did you read that too? That actually don't pack away all your, shorts and cotton tops and things because this is a bit of a blip of a low pressure weather pattern and then hopefully we'll get some sunshine back. So here's hoping. So, although I have to say that this week made me feel quite autumny because it was the launch of the brand new edition of Liz Earle Wellbeing magazine. Yes, so last week I was able to reveal the cover. Da, da, da. This is the proof that we get, which obviously looks like that when you get the magazine. And this week, many of you have been messaging to say that you got it, which is really great. Enjoying it for the weekend. I hope everybody gets it in time for the weekend, but they have all been posted. So it's now up to good old post office, the posties, hopefully to pop them through letterboxes. This is what you can look forward to receiving. This is the real thing. Now, I'm not going to do what I did before, go through it page by page, because I got into trouble when I did that last time, because a lot of people were saying, oh, you spoilt the surprise. We love dipping into it. And it's a really, really good read. It's got some great recipes, a couple of things actually that I will share with you because I'm going to be making these this weekend. We always have a section at the beginning, which is the recipe index. There's obviously loads more features. It's not just recipes, but we do always have a lot of delicious new recipes. And this one, it's the coconut and pecan breakfast banana bread, low sugar. It's so delicious. I'm going to be making that. I'll show you a picture of it. That's on page 89, if you've got it. Doesn't that look absolutely scrummy? There's also some hazelnut biscuits going on, which I think I might have to have a go with. And then the other one, which actually is an ottolenghi recipe. You may have read in the press that Yotam Ottolenghi has a new book out, which is just brilliant. And I recorded a podcast with him not that long ago, and he was talking about this, and we have featured it. It's sweet and sour onion petals. Yeah, not rose petals I'm talking about this time, onion petals. And honestly, the colour, I mean, look at that. I defy you not to be impressed by that dish. Isn't that amazing? So he's making that with red onions, obviously, olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, otherwise known as Evu, if you see that written down, Evu, really good for the gut. Pomegranate juice, which I think Yotam is famous for kind of bringing into the UK, isn't he? Pomegranate juice and pomegranate molasses. Chives, a little bit of goat's cheese. Anybody make that goat's cheese salad that I made? I was in my studios, was it Wednesday, making that? I'm going to pop that actually on my Instagram a bit later because we've now got that up on the website. We took some pictures of it. That very salad that I made has now been photographed and up on the website. So this also uses a little bit of goat's cheese and a little bit of chili flakes and a bit of sea salt. So looks super, super delicious. Now there's some green in there. What's he using there? Maybe that's the chili flakes. I think that's the green chili. Yeah, absolutely yum. Might try that. Probably going to have a roast Sunday lunch, so I might try that to go with it. Anyway, this, as I have mentioned before, is not, sadly, available in the shops anymore. It's subscription only, so it makes it extra special, really, doesn't it? Because it's just for us. So that means that you have to subscribe if you want to get it. We may be able to put some single copies on the website in the fullness of time, but obviously it's much cheaper to subscribe. So you get a free issue, basically, if you take out a subscription, and free UK postage and packing. So that just makes it easy. And yes, we can send it abroad. You just have to pay whatever the postage is. And at the moment, there are just a few. We've got a new offer actually launching. I think it launches today. So if you're on my newsletter list, you'll get details of this today, but I'll give you a little advance sneak to that. We've teamed up with a great British female founder-led skincare brand, Angela Langford, and she makes this really great rejuvenating eye oil. It's absolutely lovely, perfect for this time of year. So you can just use it really lightly around here to just help ease fine lines and puffiness. It's a really delicious blend, actually. It's got argan in it, which is one of my favourites. Very rich in vitamin E, really helps to rejuvenate the look of the skin. And anyway, that, I think it's £19 if you buy that, but that's free. But we've only got a limited number of them. So if you want to subscribe, if you haven't yet, where have you been? But this would be a very good time to do it. Or if you want to have a gift subscription, obviously. So you can send the gift wherever you like. So you can keep the gift and then you can send somebody, you know, your mum or best friend or whatever, sister, daughter. And you can start at Christmas. So if you don't want to start with this one, you could start with next issue, which would be the Christmas one if you wanted to make it a Christmas gift. Anyway, I just mentioned that in passing so you don't miss out, because we don't have that many as always. Well, not as always. We used to have lots and lots in the shops. But now we're just printing for our subscribers and a few little extras. So I've had some very interesting questions that have come in this week. Well, there's a quick one here about the magazine. This is from Naney on Instagram, who says, "Hi, your new autumn magazine, gorgeous cover. Thank you very much. Where did you get your jumper?" So this jumper, I love it. It's such an amazing colour. Don't you love that orange? It's just, I mean, it says everything about autumn, but it also says wow and zing and positivity, which is what we want. Surround ourselves with positive vibes. And we actually matched, we took this orange and we matched it with the masthead. We always do a few little plays with colours at the top here, which is just a bit of fun. I always love that. It's always a fun creative session when we get together with our paint box basically and decide what colours we're going to use. So it's actually my own sweater. Very often we have a stylist who comes in and helps with photo shoots and things, but this was actually from my cupboards, and it was one that I bought in the sale from a British fashion shop, which I really like, called Matches. You may have seen them, matchesfashion.co.uk. They're online. They've got, I think, 3 shops in London. And I bought it in their sales because they do tend to be quite pricey, but the sales they have are good. And it's a brand called Allude. I've never heard of them. Allude. Allude. Anyway, so that's the orange sweater. And this is a shot I just love too. I had to use that one. Look. Orange and kale, orange and green, great combo. Anyway, this is still being posted, so all those who are still waiting, hopefully today, tomorrow, next day, maybe, should be with you very, very soon. And I hope you love. Please, please, please let me know. So a couple of questions here. This is from Sarah in Suffolk on Instagram, who says, will the gut box still be available for a while? I have twins off to uni in a few weeks. Wow. Amazing. Gosh, that's a real life event, isn't it? Well done on that. and I'm hoping to order it then, as I don't need anything else to sort at the moment. I know, it's like, what else am I going to add to my list? Yes, I've got one going back to uni next week as well, so I think we might do a kind of crazy trip round IKEA and swoop up lots of things, and I'm busy gathering together. I've got some lovely bits of Denby china, which I'm going to send her back to uni with, and, you know, her own knife and fork and all of that kind of thing. So it's just such a fun time, isn't it, preparing all that for them. So in answer to your question, sorry, Sarah, yes, the Good Gut box has been massively popular. Apologies for all those who've had to wait a while, because we sold out. It was just so popular that we sold out of the original boxes that we did. Each box has 6 ferments in it. So it has your SCOBY to make kombucha, your kefir grains, your water kefir, your turmeric gut bug, your creme fraiche, and then your yogurt. And so the thing with those, particularly the SCOBY, is you can't just sort of manufacture them. You've physically got to wait for them to grow. So because they sold out, they had to grow more SCOBYs. It takes about 10 days to make a baby SCOBY. And that's like the gestation period of a SCOBY. So they have been really, really busy down in Hampshire, brewing and fermenting. So there is a next batch already. So yes, you should be fine to get that. And I think, Amy, you can pop a link. Barbara, you got your magazine yesterday. Thanks. We'll be reading through the weekend. I hope you love it. Do let me know, please. As always, you can leave me comments on Facebook. I think you can also leave me comments on YouTube. Just getting to grips with YouTube. I hope you like the new format of us going that way. So thank you for all those who've messaged about that. And obviously you can leave me comments on Instagram as well. I'm sorry I don't do direct message. That's the only thing I don't do. It's just one step too far. You know, there's so many messages coming in from all different angles, and it's just the one thing that I can't keep tabs on, because I just lose messages and then people get annoyed. So I find it easier just to keep everything in the comments, and then they're very visible and I can see them as we work through them. So this is a question from Elaine, also on Instagram, talking about her mother-in-law, who suffers with UTIs. So UTIs, urinary tract infections, incredibly common, especially for midlife women and older. It's a real big problem amongst elderly women as well. There's big incidents in care homes, and it can be really debilitating. You know, you can get, along with vaginal dryness and atrophy, it can become uncomfortable even to sit down, you know, and it's really, it can be really dangerous, because I know women, middle-aged women, who don't go for their regular smear test, for example, because it's just too painful and the skin becomes really papery thin, and it's to do with loss of estrogen. Yes, I know, and that is the reason. And a lot of doctors, even GPs, are not taught that. They're not aware of it. They're not aware of how safe vaginal estrogen is. Vagifem, for example, super easy to use, unbelievably safe. You can even use it during estrogen receptor positive breast cancer treatment. And I know that because I've interviewed 3 independent leading cancer oncologists and breast cancer surgeons talking about it. And that's because it's not systemic. It stays localized within the pelvis. It doesn't migrate through the rest of the body. So actually this is a really sad question, because Elaine, you write, she listened to Liz talking to Dr. Louise Newson about this, who suggested it could be low estrogen. Yeah, my mother-in-law spoke to her doctor, who said this was the case for younger women. My mother-in-law is 79. The doctor has given her one treatment of monoril, whatever that is. I think it's an antibiotic. She's been on quite a few different antibiotics now and is at her wit's end. She was hoping that the low estrogen could have been the answer. How can she push further to get this estrogen? Many thanks for your help with this. Well, that's just really depressing to read that. And as somebody, I used to get recurrent UTIs, and I know that endless round of antibiotics that you get given. And of course, it just disrupts your gut health. It doesn't actually solve, permanently fix the issue. Since using vaginal estrogen, never had an issue, and so many of my girlfriends report the same thing. So I think, well, ideally, you need to go back and see your doctor armed with information. There's lots of fact sheets on menopausedoctor.co.uk. I've also written at length about it. I've got an HRT e-guide. It's called The Truth About HRT, and it covers all of this. And just to know that it is incredibly safe and incredibly effective, and hopefully your mother-in-law, you know, can take somebody with her to the appointment. Maybe you could go with her. If necessary, write things down. If necessary, write things down and leave the research with the doctor. Say, well, I understand that's, your point of view, but here is the research from a specialist. Perhaps you'd like to look at that, and I can come back later, or we can have a phone consultation about it. And ask for a 3-month trial. It's astonishing. Very often, localized estrogen can help UTIs and cystitis and all those pelvic inflammatory issues within a week or two. I mean, it's really, really astonishing. You should read some of the comments that Menopause Doctor has got on her Instagram thread about this. And I'm so devastated when I read comments like this. And this is partly why I go on so much about HRT and about hormone health, because it's so important. And so many women's lives are needlessly ruined by GPs who, bless them, they're not trained very often in this. Some are, but it's not regular routine training. And a lot of the information that's still being given to them by the MHRA that appears on their computer screens is wrong. And yes, I am working with a group of medics behind the scenes, and we are lobbying the MHRA, and we're constantly in touch with them to try and get this information changed and updated. And it may result in legal action because things are not moving fast enough. So we have got some lawyers who are looking at it as well. So hopefully things will happen. But, it shouldn't have to be like this, should it? There should be an equality of healthcare. It shouldn't be discriminatory, particularly weighted against older women, as if we're kind of somehow not as valuable or as necessary or worth caring about. So makes me very cross. So I'm not going to continue that conversation because otherwise I will get upset and cross. But just to say, Elaine, there is help out there. And, worst case, none of us want to have to do this, of course. But worst case, in my e-guide, The Truth About HRT, I do talk about how to escalate a complaint and how to get a resolution and how to report and all of that. So, if you find that you are continually being rejected and the evidence is being ignored and you try several different GPs, it's such a lottery. I've got an amazing GP who just goes, yeah, of course you need this. Of course it's safe. Of course it's evidence-based and it will work. And then other GPs, sadly have not got that information. So anyway, I hope that the e-guide is helpful for you and other resources, obviously. Love your necklace. Oh, that's from Harry's Girl. Hello, on Instagram. Is it one from your jewellery range? Yes, it is. I put it on because I'm wearing a shirt today and I kind of like this crisp look. I felt like just, I don't know, being crisp. Maybe it's because it's autumn crispness. And I like the way that this is eucalyptus. And actually, that does remind me, we do have it on offer. So if you look in the new magazine, when you get your new magazine, we do try and do a special offer with each issue. And there you go. Yeah. And this offer is, what is it? I have to remind myself. Wow, it saves £90. That is good, isn't it? So this is 50%, 50, half price, basically. So I've got the 24 carat fair trade yellow gold for May with my hallmark on, the Liz Earle hallmark. And it comes in 3 different lengths, so you can set it at 3 different lengths. I'm wearing mine quite high just because I like it sitting on my collarbones here. I think it frames the necklace quite nicely. So yeah, this is a saving. So presumably £90, half price, £180 down to 90. So yeah, there you go. And there's a code. What is the code? Does it say? I'm sure it says on here somewhere. I'm just being blind. Save an incredible £90. Oh, there we go. EUC50. EUC, EUC, like eucalyptus, EUC50. There you go. Head to lizearlejewellery.com if you fancy checking that out. Right, I have got something else for you that I really, really want you to check out, okay? I recorded my Friday 5 podcast. It's just gone live, so you'll be able to listen to it after this if you want to, or if you're driving somewhere for the weekend, pop it on in the car. Normally my Friday 5 podcasts are quite short. They're not designed to be the long form. The long form one this week was with Mary Greenwell. Oh my goodness. That's such a good listen. I re-listened to it in the car last night. And she has just had such an extraordinary life. Of course, she was Princess Diana's makeup artist, commemorating the anniversary of her death last week. And the stories that she tells about her time in Hollywood and how she hitchhiked across America and how she met Sam McKnight, the famous partnership with the hairdressing duo that they became, Hair and Makeup Hair, Sam McKnight Makeup Mary Greenwell, was because he gate crashed her New Year's party in London. All her time working in Vogue and in Paris, it's a really, really good listen. And she's got some practical makeup advice as well, but she's very real, Mary. She's very, very down to earth. I don't know whether you've ever seen any of her Instagram lives that she does, where she just sits and puts her makeup on, and she's just lovely. I've known her for years. Gosh, I mean, maybe 30 years, And we see each other in Kenya because she's got a home out there as well. So occasionally our paths will cross in Kenya. Anyway, I recorded that podcast with her. That went live on Wednesday this week. So that's a longer one. And then usually my Friday Fives are meant to be just a little kind of quick dip into the world of wellbeing, just to catch up, say hi, anything that's caught my eye from the week of wellness. And this week is slightly longer because there's this amazing doctor. He's actually an NHS trained consultant cardiologist, Dr. Aseem Malhotra, and I have been kind of stalking him on Twitter for quite a while. I tend to follow quite a lot of medics and nutritionists and researchers on Twitter because Twitter tends to be a bit more newsy. I don't like it particularly as a channel. I don't often tweet because I don't find it a particularly safe space, particularly for women. If you've got a bit of a profile and you tweet something, you just get a ton of rocks chucked at you. So I tend to not do so much on Twitter unless I'm feeling quite brave. But I do follow quite a lot of medics, and the reason I do that on Twitter is because they often put links up to their papers and they'll link with other medics, so you can kind of broaden. If I'm researching something, I will have a look and see who's writing about certain things. So I first came across Aseem because he was the lead campaigner with an action group called Action on Sugars, which you may remember. Maybe it was set up 20 years ago, I'm not sure, quite a while ago. And I know he worked with Jamie Oliver and he's worked with the Department of Health, really trying to combat this epidemic of type 2 diabetes and obesity, and try and rewrite the narrative away from being afraid of fat in our diets and really focusing on the damaging culprits, which are the sugars, refined sugars. So not just spoonfuls of sugars in tea and coffee, things like that, which are obvious, and baking and things like that. But perhaps the less obvious sugars, things like white rice, white flour, white bread, things that just turn to sugars the minute we eat them. And he's an advocate of eating high fat, good quality fat, saturated fats, which is what I believe in as well. I've always believed in that. I've written about, my very first book, Vital Oils, was all about good quality fats. And really watching sugar intake. And he's quite controversial. He's not prepared to call out some of the vested interests of big pharmaceutical companies, big food giants, processed foods, ultra processed foods. Anyway, he's been very active during the whole COVID crisis because there's a lot of doctors looking at this thing called metabolic syndrome. And metabolic syndrome is really probably the reason why so many Americans are dying of COVID, because they have metabolic disorders. Their rates of obesity are huge, and they have high blood pressure, and they're on various medications. And it's really trying to say, look, how can we change our metabolic system for the better, to better protect us, give us greater immunity? If we do get COVID, make sure that it's not going to kill us, make sure that we have high recovery rates, because that's the issue, isn't it? It's not necessarily the cases, but it's the hospitalizations, how many people go into intensive care with it, which thankfully is very, very, very small right now. So it's all about keeping our immune system high to make sure that stays. So he's written this book, which has just come out, and I highly recommend it. It's a very short read, and it's called The 21-Day Immunity Plan. And I challenged him because he says here the good news is that in just 21 days, we can prevent, improve, and even potentially reverse many of the underlying risk factors that exacerbate how infections, including COVID-19, affect us and affect our ability to improve from them. So it's a very simple read. It really talks about all the things in a nutshell that he's focused on for years. And it's been reviewed by various professors here. Professor Carol Sikora says this remarkable book will change your life. It's beautifully written. And yeah, he's a good guy. So anyway, I invited him on my podcast. We'd finished recording the main series, but I just contacted him and I just said, kind of via Twitter, I'd love to have a brief chat with you on my Friday 5, because you are talking a lot of sense. And I think there are simple things that we can all do. And it was also triggered because I had a question, I think it was on Wednesday when I was in my studios. You might remember if you were tuning in then. There was a question about statins and cholesterol. And I really wanted to ask the expert, because Dr. Asim is also very vocal about statins and he's very anti-statins. And I wanted to know why. And I wanted to know more about cholesterol, why we shouldn't be frightened of it, and why doctors are so keen to prescribe statins, and actually what's the truth about statins. You know me, I like writing about, it's like the truth about HRT. I like to know. I used to do this forum actually years ago called The Truth in Beauty, where I would bust loads of myths and things. So what started out as quite a short recording actually turned into a kind of half-hour chat, and I urge you to listen to it. Okay, so the Friday 5 today, I sent it first thing this morning. We recorded it yesterday and it went across first thing this morning to Amy, my digital editor. Hi again, Amy. To basically upload onto the platforms that we use. So it's on Spotify and iTunes and all of that. So there's always a little bit of putting together that we have to do. She pops it on the website with some links and some pictures and things. And so I need to get it to her, a few hours before it goes live. And anyway, she just messaged me, and she doesn't normally do this, but she messaged me this morning to say, wow, I just listened to that and I just thought it was amazing. And everything he said, I was going, no, really? Wow, that's incredible. She said, I think I am his new biggest fan. So Dr. Asim, I don't know if you're watching, but here's a big plug for you and your work and for your book. And thank you for joining me on my podcast. And it is really interesting. My father is on statins. I've been having conversations with him, as many of you know, because I've spoken about it before. And I'm definitely going to be sending him a link to today's Friday 5. So if you're interested in COVID, immunity, cholesterol, high-fat diets, low-sugar diets, type 2 diabetes, statins, any of those subjects, please take a listen. And I really hope actually to be able to do more with Dr. Asim in the future. Hopefully get him back onto one of my longer podcasts, because it was riveting stuff. Actually, talking about cardiology, I just wanted to share something else which I was sent. And this comes from one of my favourite brands. It's the Naked Pharmacy. I know lots of you love them. I take the Saffron every morning. That's their crocus extract. So I take 2 crocus extract tablets every day, capsules every day, and I give it to my children as well. It just helps with anxiety. I've got one, my younger son is quite full on, shall we say. So that, I find that really helps him. And the pharmacist who created the Naked Pharmacy is really good. Again, I had him on my podcast a few weeks ago. So you ought to have a listen to that as well. But this is their new thing. And for this, as we go into this new autumn season, I think it looks really interesting. It's black garlic. Black garlic. Now, lots of people take garlic capsules. I take garlic capsules during the winter months because I think they're useful for helping to ward off infections and just kind of, keep us all a little bit healthier, because it's, let's face it, this is the season that we're stepping into, isn't it, for coughs and colds and flu and things generally, never mind COVID, but, generally this is the time when we need to get our immune system higher. So this is, I was really interested to read about it. So I've looked up online. So they're using aged fermented black garlic. Always love a bit of fermentation. And it says this is 10 times more effective than standard raw garlic due to a higher concentration of allicin. And it's been clinically tested. That's what I like about this company. They do clinical trials. This garlic is grown in northern Spain, which it says has the ideal conditions for the fermentation process. And it produces unusually high levels of allicin. That's the active component, which converts the highest standardized strength of SAC, sounds a bit technical, at 3%. And actually, if you look at it, you can look on their website, they go through all the kind of research behind it. So it's deodorized, so you're not going to smell all garlicky, get garlic breath. And it has the highest strength of S-allylcysteine, which is SAC, at 3%. And he says here, if you compare this to other products, you'll see how the quantity of SAC is much lower, or it's not even listed. So as I always say, read the label, get a little magnifier. I've got a magnifying glass in my bathroom and in my kitchen drawer because I read the labels. I can just about read this without having to use that. So yeah, black garlic, and it talks about the SAC being at 3%. And then it also contains organic moringa, which I know is a Kenyan plant. It's got lots of vitamin C in moringa. And it's suitable for vegans because the capsule here is made of tapioca. Isn't that interesting? It's a tapioca rather than a gelatine capsule. It's a little tapioca capsule. Anyway, I have started to take these. I think the research looks really interesting. I'm going to get Kevin, the founder and the pharmacist, back on, I think, to talk about it, because we do have a 20% discount with Liz Loves. I think it's Liz Loves, or is it Liz Loves 20? Let me just check on that. So where are we? Naked Pharmacy. So they are nakedpharmacy.com if you want to find them, and it's Liz Loves in capitals 20. Okay, Liz Loves 20 to get your 20% off. I actually put in an order with them last week. I did a bulk order. I bought loads of saffrosun, and I also bought their marine magnesium, which I think is very good. So those are what I was stocking up on. For myself and also for the kids. And talking about back to uni, I'm sending Brella back with loads of good things like that she can take. Yeah, so that is Naked Pharmacy. Couple of other very, very quick notices before I go. Just finding out the other discount codes. Oh, thanks, Amy. You've popped Alfresco up there. So I was talking about Alfresco, which is the anti-midgie spray, which actually just smells really nice as a cologne. I get to use that. Not that many midges around at the moment, but you never know, actually. Even down here in the West Country, I've had a couple of really nasty little bites. So their email address, or website rather, if you want it, is Alfresco Shop. Okay, alfrescoshop.com. And Liz Loves, just Liz Loves, gets you 20% off everything. So do check it out and read their story of the founder. It's a really, really interesting story. Really like it. Amy, I know, has popped links on Facebook. We have got a link to it on Linktree, so if you didn't catch that, don't worry about having to write it down. A few other things in my box. Lots of you, I saw there was a comment on Facebook about Ishka. How is black garlic if you suffer with IBS? Well, I would imagine it would be good. But I would think that would probably be a question for Naked Pharmacy. They are really good. You know, their customer care is excellent, and you can email Kevin. And in fact, there are a couple of reviews here. So black garlic, there was a lady here who wrote, last week, 25th of August, as a review. She says, I've been taking black garlic since the middle of July. Beginning with 1 capsule a day for the first 2 weeks, now I take 2. I'm really pleased with the results. My circulation is not so good, and I have a condition in my leg where I've had a knee replacement, but the pain in my foot and venous lumps in my lower leg have almost gone in the last 5 weeks. So I will continue to take your black brackets magic garlic. Gosh, that's good. And then there's another one here from June. This says, we've had to more or less come and accept our daughter of 6, so only 6 years old, had a number of allergic reactions in varying degrees over time. Just recently there was a flare-up when, after a period of itchy spots on the skin, she complained of getting an itchy tongue whenever she ate certain foods. Quite unbearable for her not to be able to eat what we were all enjoying. On advice of Kevin Levers, so he's the pharmacist, he's the founder, so he's obviously somebody that you can email there. We started her off on a combination of black garlic, opening the capsule and offering half in some oat milk morning and evening, as well as her saffron for children. Yeah, that's the one that I give my son every morning. Recently, after some 5 weeks of taking it, we suddenly realised that we've not had any spots, nor have we had any complaints about itchy skin, nor itchy tongue. Her allergies seem to have vanished completely. We are very, very grateful. Thank you, Kevin. And this one, talking about IBS, says, This was another review from June. Black garlic has helped get my gut microbiome under control. Even with a very good diet, I've been suffering this year. I find it works best when I take it in the morning with food, normally a green smoothie for me. All the current research points to a link between our microbiome, mental well-being and immune health. I've felt improvement on all fronts. Great. What's not to love, I say, as we step into these winter months. So just before I go, I just wanted to mention a new thing that I've been sent, because I saw a couple of comments about Ishka. There was a lady on Facebook who said that she just received her first order from Ishka. Ishka is another great British brand. They're based in the Outer Hebrides. And, you know, one of these days I am going to go and might even do a broadcast. Can you imagine doing Facebook Live, Instagram Live, YouTube from the Outer Hebrides, maybe on a little fishing boat or something? Wouldn't that be amazing? Is there bandwidth? Can somebody tell me? What's the Wi-Fi like in the Outer Hebrides? Yeah, lots of hearts coming in for that idea. Oh, so look forward to getting out and being a bit more explorative. Just sort of sitting here in my sitting room, which is lovely, but, you know, it'd be nice to go out and about too. So Ishka. So many of you know that I love, this is the hand cream, you can see the levels going down, I love it. It's got Hebridean seaweed and it's a Soil Association certified organic brand. Really like it. They've given us a discount. Let me just check what it is before I tell you about their new thing. Ishka, so that's ishka.com, and you get 15% off your first order. Okay, so if you've yet to order, now would be a good time, and you just use Liz Loves in the code. Again, there'll be a link on Linktree, and there's a link. I know that. Yes, Victoria, can we come too? Yes, we should all meet, shouldn't we, in the Outer Hebrides? Can you imagine? These people descend suddenly saying, where's the seaweed? We want to find all the seaweed and learn all about it. Anyway, this is their new product. And it's so new, and I've just got it in the post. I haven't even opened the box to try it, so I thought I'd save it and try it with you. So it's a natural skincare sanitizer. So it sounds really good. And it contains, what does it contain? Lots of alcohol, obviously, because that's what you need. 78%, so that's really good in terms of purification. Oh, lavender oil and pelargonium and, of course, your seaweed extract to soften the skin. Great, really nice. So it says here, spray onto hands, rub together until absorbed, or you can spray onto surfaces and leave for around 30 seconds before wiping. And this comes from the Isle of Lewis in Scotland. So let's see what it's like. Oh, nice, pretty bottle. So this is the big size. This is 150 mils. Nice fine mist like that. Good quality pump. Smells nice. Oh, it does. Smells very... got sort of citrus and lavender. Very nice. And that little slightly fresh seaweedy smell too, which is also really good. And then there's obviously the small one here, which would be like a handbag size, I guess. Yeah. Little glass one here. Hand sanitizer. Oh, this is a pump. Nice. Great. So you've got one that you could use on surfaces, I guess, the spray. Or spray it around you. You know, spray it on things like phones or, I don't know, stuff if you're back to work or you're, you know, cleaning things, surfaces. And then you've got one that you can pop in your bag. Natural skincare sanitizer. Lovely. And again, that's got the Soil Association label on it. Very nice. Thank you, Ishka, for sending me those. Very pleased to give those a quick mention. I think that's about it for today. Hope you've got some lovely things planned for the weekend. There's loads to read on the website. I'm going to be cooking some more recipes. So many podcasts. Please, whatever you do, listen to my Friday 5. It's just gone live. If you get a moment, if you're driving, if you've got some switch off time, relaxing in the bath, sitting with a cup of tea, doing some cooking over the weekend, please share it, because I think it's an important one right now to share, because it talks about so many important issues. Obviously, there's our immune system that's important, but it's also talking about really interesting studies and misconceptions about saturated fats, high-fat diets, cholesterol, statins. And I'll just leave you with this thought. Cholesterol is so important for us. We make it in our bodies, and it's the mothership of our hormones. It's like the first building block of our hormones. So as we age, particularly, we need to make sure that we have good quality cholesterol in our systems so that we are better able to make our own good quality hormones. And that includes all the hormones that keep us fit and well and affect brain health and mental capacity and immune system, all of those things. So, so important. We know that estrogen is hugely important when it comes to our immune system as well. So Lots to share. Thank you very much for being with me. I am going to be doing some cooking. I'll be popping some more pictures on my stories. I hope that you'll come back and join me on Monday. Monday, I've got a brand new exclusive, which I'm really excited to share with you. I can't say too much about it right now, but I've got a limited number of something which is only available here. You're not going to find it in the shops or any website. So that's going to be coming up on Monday. So I hope you join me for then. But have a lovely weekend. Thank you for being with me. Sending you lots of hearts and kisses. Stay well. Bye-bye.